welcome back to Revisiting Final Fantasy X. The party remakes their way to the MoonFlow, which is basically a giant river, and the only way to cross it is apparently by taking a ride on something called a shoe puff, which looks like something straight out of a Dr. Seuss book. I'm just left wondering why we just don't take a boat, but I guess I'm weird like that. So on the way over to the MoonFlow, the Al Bhed show up and kidnap Yuna. Again! Yeah, totally did not see that coming. Though, were the Al Bhed just hiding out in the water? Granted, we've already established in this universe that people can breathe underwater indefinitely, so it wouldn't surprise me. Tidus and Wakka now have to battle this robot that I beat in Luca, though now it can swim apparently. Also, I was always annoyed by this fight, mostly due to the fact that Yuna is here but doesn't help out. This type of fight's been used before in other Final Fantasy games, like when the Parasite Cage captured Vivi in Final Fantasy IX, but at least Vivi fought back. Yuna just stands there, and it's weird because she has her staff out. I mean, why bother animating her holding her staff if she's not going to use it? Hell, her name even appears on the level up screen right after the fight, which is weird too. Anyway, after the fight, Wakka starts trying to figure out why the Al Bhed have this fascination of trying to capture Yuna. You see, Wakka hates the Al Bhed since his brother Chappu died fighting Sin with an Al Bhed weapon in place of a sword that Wakka tried to give him. Though I can't really blame Chappu for leaving the sword, since what good would that have done? An Al Bhed weapon is like a gun, so wouldn't it make more sense to bring that? Back on the shore, Tidus runs up ahead and bumps into guess who? Yes, Riku was inside that weird robot thing. Well, ain't that convenient? Seriously, it's like the game was struggling to find a place to reintroduce Riku into the plot and decided, here's a good spot, just go for it. I mean, talk about random. Also, multiple stupid things happen in this scene that it's almost hard to comprehend, but I will do my best to lay it all out. Tidus almost outs Riku as an Al Bhed by flat out calling her by name, partially, but Wakka can't put two and two together, so nothing really happened.
She was the one who helped me before I was washed up on Besaid. She's an Al Bhed.
Wow, so you like all your life. What luck meeting here, huh?
Lulu and Yuna then asks Auron if Riku can be a guardian, despite the pair of them just having met seconds ago. Now, Yuna, as we found out way back in Luca, is half Al Bhed herself, and she has an uncle who is an Al Bhed named Sid, so I guess she hopes that maybe Riku could help her meet him? That's a bit of a stretch though, and there's really no way that Riku would even know who Sid is. Though she does. Turns out that Sid is her father, as we'll find out later. Let's just add that to the list of convenient plot points happening here. Regardless, Auron checks her eyes and can tell she's an Al Bhed due to the pattern in them. And oh no, this isn't just a feature that Riku has, since according to the oh-so-trusty Final Fantasy Wiki, all the Al Bhed have green eyes with spiral-shaped pupils, which makes it even stupider that Wakka couldn't figure it out earlier. Even Tidus thinks Wakka is pretty stupid for not realizing this.
It was strange. Even though Wakka had always hated the Al Bhed,
Riku, at your service.
he never realized Riku was one of them.
Up ahead we arrive at Guado Salam, which is where Seymour is from, and it turns out that Seymour has been waiting for the party, or rather Yuna. Seymour's butler Trommel here comes to collect Yuna, saying he has important matters to talk about. So we head over to the manor, where the music just sounds so peaceful and calming. Okay, it sounds more like I just entered Dracula's castle in a Castlevania game, but anyway. While waiting for Tidus, we learn that Seymour's father, Lord Jiskel, died recently, and Seymour took his father's place as Maester. Oh yeah, there's nothing fishy about that. Not at all. Seymour has us wait a bit before taking us up to the holodeck to show Yuna a recreation of the city of Zanarkand. Why? Well, I guess he wanted to show it to somebody? I don't know. I'm really not sure. During all of this, he takes Yuna aside and whispers something in her ear. Yuna relays it to the party, and I hope you're sitting down because this is a bit of a curveball.
You okay?
He asked me to marry him.
Auron's not too thrilled with the idea, while the rest of the party just sort of remains shell-shocked.
A moment's diversion may amuse an audience, but it changes nothing.
Even so, the actors must play their parts.
Yuna decides to head over to the Far Plane to see her parents in order to mull the decision over, though. The Far Plane, as I mentioned a few episodes back, is where the people of Spirit can see the images of the dead. Yuna sees her parents while Wakka sees his brother Chappu, who, despite Lulu and Wakka's earlier notions that Tidus looks a lot like him, he doesn't. Or at least, I don't see it. I mean, really all they had to do was take the Tidus character model and just swap his hair out for red. I mean, wouldn't that have just made the most sense? I don't even think that's what they did do. His face looks like a different texture altogether. Also, we get a flashback to when Tidus was a kid to learn the reason why he doesn't like his father. Yes, it turns out that apparently Tidus hates Jet since his mother never bothered with him whenever Jet was around.
Mommy! Just a sec, dear.
Whenever my old man was around, my mother wouldn't even look at me. Maybe that's when I started to resent him, even hate him.
Jesus Christ, did the game just suggest that Titus has an Oedipus complex? That's a dark, unexpected turn of events. I mean, couldn't we have just said that Titus hated Jet since he was his stepdaddy or something cliche like that? The other reason is creeping me out. On the way out, Lord Jeskel starts to move out of the far plane and he drops a sphere that Yuna picks up. And I got real problems with all of this. First off, no one thought of Jeskel, so how did he appear? Also, Riku mentions before I go into this place that it's speculated that the images that I'm seeing here on the far plane are nothing more than the Pyreflies, those weird little light bubble things. It's just those things reacting to the memories of the dead person, so this isn't the real Jeskel, right?
You're not really going to see the dead, more like your memories of them. People think of their relatives, and the Pyreflies react to them. They take on the form of the dead person. An illusion, nothing else.
Also, was he sent to the far plane with a sphere holding his last will and testament, or did he make that after he died? And why would Jeskel feel it was safe to trust Yuna with this sphere, or rather was he just trying to give it to anyone? A simpler way of handling this plot point with no issues would have probably just been to have the party come across it when they were inside of the mansion. The way that the sphere just falls into Yuna's hand just raises way too many questions right now. The game does try to explain how Jeskel could have come out of the far plane.
I would think that he was sent once, but he stayed on Spira. Something, a powerful emotion, could have bound him to this world. Such things happen.
That's against the rules, isn't it?
It means he died an unclean death.
Now let's remember this, because real soon it's gonna be important. Yuna goes to tell Seymour her answer, but he's decided for whatever reason to head over to Macalania Temple, so now we have to head after him. The party now arrives on the Thunder Plains, which houses one of the game's most annoying side missions. While you move around here, lightning will often strike you down. If you dodge the lightning strikes 200 times consecutively, you will gain an item that will help you obtain one of the party's ultimate weapons. However, this side quest is pretty much impossible to do right now or even by the game's end, since random battles are always going to be happening while you attempt to do this, and the lightning itself is pretty random. However, if you do a bit of searching on the internet, you'll find that this side quest becomes ridiculously easy. You see, all you really need is for someone in the party to have an item that disables random battles, and then just find a spot on the map where the lightning consistently hits each time you pass over it. After that, it's pretty simple, though I'd love to know how long it took the first person to figure this out when the game first released all those years ago. Anyway, about halfway through the Thunder Plains, and Yuna decides she now wants to marry Seymour. Titus mentions that the spear that Yuna has of Jeskel, and Auron asks to see it, but Yuna for whatever reason refuses and says she wants to talk to Seymour about it first. I'm just saying we'd save a lot of time if she would just give us the sphere to look at right now. Alright, so let's speed this up a bit because we are kind of stalling here. We make it to Macalania Woods where nothing really happens. Auron and Titus chat. We run into Bartello who's looking for Donna, who he can't find anymore, but I believe she's probably just off at the Victoria's Secret store buying another thong. There's a parrot dude with a harp and a mini game here that has me catching butterflies, which is far too annoying for me to go into full detail. Auron then summons a Jello monster while trying to receive a sphere that Jet Braskin himself made 10 years ago. Actually, this sphere is pretty enlightening since it does show that Jet might have actually cared about Titus, but couldn't find the right way to say it.
You'll be fine. Remember, you're my son. And, well, never mind, I'm no good at these things.
Naturally, Titus doesn't give two shits about this even when Auron tries to explain it to him that his father stopped acting like a jackass as he journeyed with Braska.
But as he journeyed with us and came to understand Spira and Braska's resolve, it happened gradually, but Jet changed.
So finally, we arrive at Macalania Lake and we run into Trommel, who's ready to bring Yuna to Seymour. But before that happens, surprise! The Albed are back to grab Yuna. Shit, that's twice in one video. These guys are really stepping up their game. This time, however, the Albed are packing since they brought their cannon, tank, weird, rolly, drill, long mecha gun thing, complete with a satellite to disable all magic and summons. Thank God we've got Wakka and that Blitzball, or we'd all be screwed at this point. And I'm dead serious, because the only way to hit that satellite thing is with Wakka's Blitzball. Let's just let that sink in for a second, shall we? Also, speaking of Wakka, we get to his second stupid moment of the video. Brother, the Albed guy driving the tank, speaks to Riku in Albed, and she responds in kind, leading Wakka to spew out this idiotic garble.
How come you speak Albed? Why?
Oh, come on, is the hair gel seeping into his brains? Did Wakka take one too many hits to the head with the Blitzball? How come she speaks Albed? Oh, it was her foreign language class in high school, my man. That's how she knows. I mean, holy mother of Yevon, Wakka, you cannot be this stupid. But the stupidity continues when he says this when Auron wants to use the Albed snowmobile.
We're not using that, are we? Wait, Sir Aron isn't Albed too, is he?
Also, Riku brings up a very good point here about how the Albed don't really hate Yevon, they just hate the people that follow Yevon because they all kind of blindly follow it without questioning it. And the Albed don't think that following religious dogma and not questioning it isn't really smart. Anyway, the party then snowplows their way to the temple, but this time we have an issue getting past the front gates.
Halt! The likes of her are not welcome in this hallowed place.
She is a guardian.
An Albed? A guardian? Preposterous.
Oh yeah, the guy with the blitzball, a star blitzball player with no brains, a Wookiee, and the woman that's keeping her moogles in her bra by using belts. Oh, they're fine, they're up to code. But the Albed girl, it's a hell no. Regardless, Orin lays the smackdown on this fool, and we head inside to see Seymour, though not before one of the temple staff claims to have seen something quite shocking in Yuna's belongings. Although, should I be questioning more as to why the temple maiden is looking through Yuna's belongings? I think she should be fired. Turns out Yuna left Jiskel's sphere behind, and since she forgot to put pass lock on, it's now ours to view. So we turned it on, and I hope you're all sitting down because this is one hell of a twist. Jiskel reveals that Seymour is essentially the devil's spawn, and that he's murdered him. Oh my god. I'm so surprised. Well, now that the party is well aware that Seymour is evil, took him long enough, we head into the cloister to take him down before Yuna gets killed. Though, naturally, Waka is hesitant to do anything since Seymour is a maester and he couldn't possibly be evil. Well, the party doesn't have time for Waka to grow some blitzballs, and neither do I, so we enter the cloister, and considering the environment we're in, I'm assuming I'm going to be dealing with frozen balls. Only when I enter, it's just a hallway, which leaves me very surprised. In fact, after this hallway, we're already in the room getting ready to fight Seymour. I'm a bit suspect to all of this, but I'm going to let it pass for now. The party confronts Seymour, who seems unfazed by anything. Hell, dude was very much aware that Yuna already knew that he offed his father before she even went to see him. And it turns out that Yuna's secret plan, the one that she didn't want the party involved with, yeah, that was to get Seymour alone and confront him with that fact. It's kind of like what's happening now, only the whole gang's here. So, yay, great plan, Yuna. A+ work. Big round of applause. Also, I find it hysterical that Seymour's two manservants here aren't questioning anything that's going on. I mean, shouldn't they be like, what are they talking about, Lord Seymour? Yes, what about Lord Jiskel? No, they just stand there. I mean, were they in on it? They don't make any kind of a reaction. Are they cool with it? I mean, question something. Have a reaction. Anyway, it's time to take Seymour's blue antlered ass down. This fight is actually pretty challenging if you don't know some simple tricks. First off, Seymour's manservants here are going to use auto potions each time you hit them, which means that unless you can knock them out in one go, you can't kill them fast enough. So all you really need to do here is take Riku out and have her steal from them, and they can't use potions anymore, which is very helpful. After them, just focus on Seymour. You could use Yuna's null attacks to make Seymour's magic deal no damage, or you could just go in all on with overdrives, which probably will make it end in a few minutes. Eventually, though, he's going to hit the halfway point of his health bar, and he's going to summon Anima, the demon spawn that he summoned back at Luca. Now, your first thought might be to summon your own Aeon, even the new one that Yuna just picked up, and fight fire with fire, but you really don't have to do that. You'd just be kind of wasting time. You see, Anima is the first boss fight in the game where you can see their overdrive bar, and once the overdrive bar is filled up, it's basically game over. The super move that Anima unleashes is pretty much unstoppable. I think the only way to maybe get past it is if you really over-leveled, but I think even that would drive you crazy at this point, so there's really no way to get past it. Using the Aeon, however, isn't really recommended since it might take a few good hits, but Anima's eventually going to kill it, and then there's always the off chance that when your party gets thrown back out, he might unleash the overdrive onto your party, which again, like I said, is bad news. The trick here is to use no Aeon, since ironically enough, your party's going to deal quite enough damage on their own. Seriously, one hit from Titus's overdrive slice and dice, or even his standard one, spiral cut, that's enough to take plenty of damage. After you deal with Anima, Seymour pops up again in for round 2, but it's really no different, and then he's down for the count. Orin wants Yuna to send him, but before that, Trommel arrives and is quite shocked at what we've done. I mean, after all, Seymour did promise Trommel a nice holiday bonus, and, well, we did just kind of ruin that for him. Trommel brands us traitors of Yevon, and Orin suggested we get the hell out of this temple before anything else goes wrong. Well, I can't really see how this is going to be a problem since we have Jiskel's sphere just as evidence. So let's just go back to the entrance and show the other Guado the sphere. I mean, that's going to clear everything up. But since the game doesn't know how to pace out the plot, it decides that now would be a good time to drop the cloister of balls onto us. So yes, I think I'll leave it here for a while I deal with my ice balls. So come back next time to see how these events unfold when Revisiting Final Fantasy continues. Thanks for watching.